what's really good about the levee since they opened it is people that, you know, there's a designated area for runners and walkers, right, where the gravel is, right. It's interesting that since they opened that thing, most people are adhering to staying in the area that the bicycles are not, you know, staying in the walking, running area, the gravelly area, you know, it's like 2 or 4 feet wide or whatever, and the cyclists are on the asphalt, you know. So it's really good. People are like adhering to that, which is not all the time, but for the most part, which is really good. Yeah,
That was good.
yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
That keeps everybody a little bit safer.
A little bit safer. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
When I was the old levee, did you notice more bicycle and pedestrian collisions on the levee? Does that happen often or not really?
I didn't see too many, you know. There happened a few. My wife's been a couple though. She's cycled by herself. She's been a few of them, you know, over the years. But yeah, I don't know if there's much of a difference between the old trail and the new or not. Yeah. Right. But the new levee trail is the asphalting is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's smooth.
Very wide.
Yeah, and it's
and
wide.
it has walking paths on the
Right,
sides.
walking pad, yeah, so it's really, the actual, the pavement is really good, yeah, it is good.
Do you still like it? Do you feel like it still offers good access to the water on the other side? Are there enough entry points to get down to the water and make it accessible? Or do you not use those amenities?
I don't use it, yeah, I mean, I see kids sometimes go down there, or sometimes adults will water, there's a few access places, you know. Yeah, nothing interests me about doing that, yeah.
I prefer to be dry, thank you.
Yeah, north of the bridge, I worry about these guys that are fishing out there. I hope they're not eating like their captain.
Oh, man.
Yep. Yeah.
My boss would, he used to fish out there all the time, striper.
Okay.
Those striper season, and he pull a lot of things out of the water, but all to throw back. He just did it for sport.
Okay.
Not eating these bait fish, not out of there. A little too murky.
Yeah, for sure. What was really unusual for, I live on Monterey and I have waterfront property. And we have to get up real early to go to church down at Venture Church in Los Gatos. So, because our grandkids are down there, even though we have a local church here. But anyway, so we're looking out the window like at 6:37 in the morning, and there's this activity on the bulkhead, and it's a river otter.
Really?
And then it went in the water and it's swimming around. And I thought, I didn't know what it was, so I Googled, I said, are there otters? And they said, yeah, there are, the river otters, you know.
Those seats
in the
are
Far Side
really
Lagoon.
comfortable after a while.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, you like the
How are you?
theater chairs over there?
Yeah, those actually are better, because my hamstring hurts after a while. I know you have one little item, right?
I do.
None of that. Good. Good. Probably smart.
So there's a river otter then?
Yeah, it was
Hang out
otter,
there?
yeah.
Oh my God.
I was gonna call the city about it, but then I Googled it and said, yeah, there's river otters in there, and they feed in that murky water, you know?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's good eating for somebody.
What's that?
It's good eating for somebody.
Yeah, really.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was really surprised when I was counting the number of holes. You know, I couldn't believe there were 26 holes between the bridge and Redwood Shores, that's like 5 miles. Do you need 26 poles? You know, really? Yeah.
With the same signage?
Yeah, yes, all that look like that, the first one, they all look like that, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's some that look, there's one that's like different, but basically this is what they all have. Yeah.
Probably when you're walking, it doesn't seem as excessive, but at the speed that you're passing them while you're riding, you probably like pull.
Yeah. I decided to count them just for fun, you know? Cause I thought, before I thought about counting, I thought, well, you know, it would be expensive to put up new poles to have, you know, call out, with a call out sign, you know? But then I said, man, 26 poles, and I just, you know, use the existing poles. Yeah.
First two.
Yeah, they certainly could do that.
Yeah.
That would be very low cost.
It could be, huh?
Maybe a little cost, maybe a little cost.
All right, Tom, let me go say hi to the camera here, but nice to meet you. Yeah, good idea. I'll be excited to see that.
All right.
When I see those out there, I'll.
Share myself.
I was getting some juice over there. I'm gonna set Phoebe's camera.
Yeah, you stand up and walk.
Is it over by him?
You were? Yeah, I think we all got done. We started moving up there and drinking, so Sam got her up there. Smooth as I am.
It was going through there, I took all the question I had about the bank.
Oh, yeah? Who plugged in?
Right.
Really? They don't have all the little dongles I have. I have like so many dongles.
Oh, man.
How are you?
Okay, how are you doing?
Good. Don't trip.
Oh, I know what this is.
That's Phoebe. She's live streaming.
Yeah. Three.
I didn't know what the Lord would be making. Did you get your computer?
It's on Microsoft 365, right? That's not the Office 365.
So Office 365 and Microsoft 365 are in the cloud.
Okay,
And many people hate the cloud version and they like the on desktop.
yeah.
You can still get that.
Oh, okay,
We can show you.
okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, because I hate Outlook
Oh,
in the cloud.
Me too.
Can't do it. So if you look in, if you open up Outlook, the very top right, it says new Outlook. It's a little blue thing.
Okay.
Click on that so that you don't have new Outlook and then it'll go through a process and you should be able to get the new Outlook.
Oh, well, that look is so much better.
If you have problems.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I don't want to bother you.
Yeah, Rob helped me today and I think that you know.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow. Yeah. No, we don't have you unless you're going.
No, I don't.
You're right.
can make it.
He always likes the same thing, kind of.
1 minute.
Okay.
30 seconds.
That's very funny.
10 seconds. Welcome to the City of Foster City Stair Municipal Improvement District regular meeting of Monday, April 6, 2026, 6:30 p.m. Members of the public that wish to attend and/or participate in the meeting may do so in person. Due to technical difficulties, the meeting will not be available via Zoom or other streaming services. Public comments will be accepted in person. Any emails sent to publiccomment@fostercity.org have been provided to the council prior to the meeting.
I'd like to call a meeting to order and start with the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Item 3, roll call. Council members ex officio EMA Director Stacy Jimenez. I'm here. Susie Niederhofer. Present. Patrick Sullivan.
Present.
Phoebe Venkat.
Here.
And Mayor President Art Kiesel.
Here. Next item.
Item 4, special presentations. 4.1, presentation by Peninsula Clean Energy, DBA Westlight Energy.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Nice to see all of you again and this evening. My name is Shawn Marshall. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Peninsula Clean Energy. And I have with me my colleague, Mark Hirschman, who's our Director of Government Affairs. I want to acknowledge our board member, Councilmember Jimenez. Thank you for your service. And we are here tonight to provide just a quick briefing on what we've been up to and some of the benefits to the city as part of its membership with Peninsula Clean Energy. And specifically, you have on your agenda tonight, I think under consent, a request to approve a JPA amendment approving our new name of Westlight Energy. We'll talk about that in just a moment. May I ask for either a clicker or to advance the slide? Okay, super. Next slide, please. So before we get started, I know that many of you on this council are familiar with this, so I'll just quickly, for the benefit of those in the audience and the public, what is Peninsula Clean Energy? PCE is a shared service model with our incumbent utility, Pacific Gas and Electric, that takes over responsibility for the procurement and the contracting of clean power resources on behalf of our residents and our businesses in San Mateo County and the city of Los Banos in the Central Valley. We partner with PG&E, and they continue to handle all of the, what we call the pole and wire infrastructure. So managing all of the delivery of power, managing a number of customer programs. They handle all the billing so that at the end of the day, all of our customers are currently receiving a 10% discount on electric generation. So as I mentioned, it is a shared service model. It's been going on in the state of California now for a little over 15 years, and I'm glad to say that the partnership has worked itself out very nicely. Next slide. So for PCE, you know that really what we are here to do is to deliver local impact. And our values really are lower costs on your electric bill. So I just mentioned that currently we're at a 10% discount for our customers. Since our inception, we have delivered cleaner energy. We have a 100% carbon-free portfolio that we offer to our customers, and we are presently a little over 60% renewable, on our way to becoming 100% renewable by 2030 as our default product. We also have a very active series of programs that are engaged in community reinvestment. So for here in Foster City, that includes 84 EV charging ports, 125 home electrification rebates, heat pump water heaters. We did a rebate a couple of years ago for our income qualified customers. We have a slew of programs that all of our customers can take advantage of in addition to the lower cost energy. Next slide. In sum, the total amount of savings that Foster City has benefited from since our inception is just shy of $10 million. That number is growing every day. That equates to about a week of free electricity for every year for every household. We've had almost $3 million in community reinvestment dollars back to Foster City in terms of bill credits, the solar system credits, the customer rebates. We have 0% interest loans that customers can take out with a 5-year repayment to do all kinds of retrofits and things on their homes related to clean energy and battery storage. And we also are providing, as I mentioned, 100% carbon-free power through both of our products, the default and the voluntary product. So that's the high-level metrics and flyby. We'll be providing more detail in our community impact report, which will be out later this year in celebration of our 10-year anniversary, which is happening on the second half of 2026. So it's been a decade of service. Next slide, please. Our role has expanded in these past 10 years. So we started, and it remains that it is our core function and our core service is really to provide electric generation for all of our customers that is both cleaner and cheaper. That is really at the heart of what we do. And we have delivered on that. And so over time, we've layered in a number of programs and really started to work with our customer base as partners, looking at how they can invest in their homes and their businesses in order to accelerate and make the shift to a clean energy electrification. So it's really shifted the way that we think about program design and delivery here in the last couple of years. Next slide. Okay, so the year ahead, we plan to continue our rate discounts. They may not be as deep as 10%. We're coming into a couple of years of higher than usual, what we call exit fees, which is a fee that customers pay to the utility. And so we include that fee as part of our rate making. So it is inclusive or net of that exit fee. So there may be a slight amendment in rates coming up this summer. We'll see how our budget is going and keep you posted. And certainly Director Jimenez will have an opportunity to vote on that. We are going to be rolling out a new residential solar plus storage program for all of our residents who want to take advantage of both opportunities to benefit from the grid and then also increase resilience during power outages. We are continuing in our partnership with the city and the Chamber of Commerce, and we participate in a number of local events throughout the year and upcoming for Earth Day. Next slide, thank you. So really the core reason that we're here, and it's part of your agenda this evening, is that we are going to be changing our name to Westlight Energy, same great agency, new great name. And the reason for that is that for years, the primary reason really is for years that our customers have been confusing us with PG&E. PCE, PG&E, it's very confusing. They conflate the issues and it's been frustrating for the customer. So we have that. And then we also do really want to be much more inclusive of our entire service territory, which does include now parts of the Central Valley. So it's a move in that direction. We're looking forward to rolling out the brand, which will be coming soon to the board of directors. And you'll hear more about that in the second half of this year. Next slide. So our last slide is, what are we asking? We are asking you to approve the JPA amendment that's on your agenda. We are asking you to help communicate that to all of our customers and your constituents, working with the city through newsletters on your website. We will have a number of events that are rolling out over the summer. And then please join us in marking our 10-year anniversary celebration. So we'll have a number of events. We have a policy reception that all of you will be invited to in the fall, which will be at the, the community college up in the Fairlawn room at Skyline. I think, Mark, is that September 30th?
September 30th.
September 30th, that's happening. It's gonna be both educational and also a really good time, just to celebrate our accomplishments. Lots of different community activities, and then shared communications, as I mentioned. So that concludes my remarks. Happy to answer any questions that you have, and I wanna thank you for your time. Thank you.
Questions? Patrick?
So, thank you, and it's interesting, 2 years ago, we were just starting the process of wanting to change the name because of that. Just curiosity, you kind of answered it, why the word Westlight? Is it because more western areas, or what?
Yes. We went through a rigorous and long process, and we had a subcommittee of the board, the marketing committee, working with us on this. And there were a number of names that kind of rose to the top of the list, including a couple that I really loved, but just didn't make the cut when we had to run it through trademark. And so Westlight was, right at the top, and ultimately it was selected because it just represents the broader Western territory without being geographically specific. And then there was so much that can be done with the light element. So what you will see when you see the final branding is quite a beautiful and impactful visual representation of the name. And that really kind of got it across the goal line.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sean and Mark, for being here tonight. Very supportive of the name change, sounds like a good idea. I just wanted to understand a little bit more about the outreach and education plan. Obviously, our staff will help support that, but what are some highlights?
Yes. So we are planning to roll it out to customers on their bills starting in July and August. So that's sort of when they will begin to see it, right? And so there's a plan for a couple of mailings and some advertising and other sort of community-oriented events, along with social media and all of that, starting in early June. So we're gonna do about 30 to 40 day, 45 day blitz, if you will, of publicity. Then they will see it on their bills. There's also an area on the bill, it's not very large, it's called the swim lane, on the PG&E bill, and we're gonna start messaging that in May. So they'll begin to see like coming soon, so that people understand that it is, as I said, same great agency, great new name. Because what we don't want is for people to say, oh gosh, what is this? I didn't sign up, and then opt out, right? So we're working hard to make sure that we have high customer retention.
Sounds good, thank you.
Stacy?
Yeah, just a comment, I just want to say thank you. Of all the different boards that I serve on, I think this is the most, the one that I think I'm the most proud of, because of just the work that you're doing. And you're so incredibly just intentional, even about going through a simple name change. The thought and the process that has gone into this has just been incredible to watch. And I'm very proud to be part of it. And I know that just in this process of really becoming, the beginning of what hopefully will be even more. I'm really grateful for the work that you're doing and the work that you've done in Foster City and just the partnerships that we've been able to forge. So thank you for all of you.
Thank you. And thank you for your willingness to join our Audit and Finance Committee. Coming soon. Thank you.
Susie?
I'd also like to thank you too. Wonderful news, wonderful name. As I was sitting here thinking about getting that information in the bill, and I get my bill online, so I don't always open it and read the
Yeah, the swim lane.
the swim lane. Is there a way to, and I don't know if you've already thought about this, when you get that email saying your bill is ready, is there some way to include some kind of communication on that?
Probably, but let me ask. Yes, I'm sure that they've thought about it but I will ask and we'll get back to you on
Great,
that.
thank you.
Question, you said 10%, and it may not be as great as 10% reduction. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Sure can. That's me wanting to be as transparent as possible. And because what's coming, and we'll know, right, since we're gonna be going into budget season, well, we're in it now, we're planning. The fiscal year budget will come to the board in June. We lowered our rates by 47% in January in order to stay ahead of PG&E, because they had, as you all probably know, significant rate discounts in January. And we lowered it to be inclusive of that exit fee that I was mentioning. So that took a huge chunk, right? And we anticipated, we planned for it, we have the money in the budget to do it. But reducing your rates also then reduces your revenue, right? By a very large percentage. And so what we need to do, along with audit and finance and the board, is to take a look at how's the performance been, right, in the first 2 quarters of this year, the end of the fiscal year. Can we afford to keep the 10%? Or do we need to reduce the discount to 5%, which is where historically we've been at a 5%. More recently, we've dropped it down. But we may have to come back up. We will still always be less than PG&E. But in order to make up that differential, we'll just have to see where we're at and what things are looking like for the coming year.
Okay, and I have another question for you.
Sure.
Given the housing requirements that all the cities are faced with, do you work in collaboration with PG&E or anyone else on the demand? Because they have the conduit to transmit and the transmission lines, and you provide the electricity. So what is demand going to be, and what is the supply that you're going to be able to produce, and what can they get through their conduit? Do you work on that at all? Do you have any charts or, supply and demand kind of
So
forecasting?
are you asking about housing? Did I hear the word?
Well, housing, I'm using that as the requirement
I see.
for greater demand.
We are actively paying attention to what we call large load expansion. A lot of that is coming actually from data centers, not so much housing, although in certain parts of the county, be that, the Bay Shore development or whatever that may or may not move forward, there are pockets of potential large load growth. And so, unfortunately, we don't have a lot to say about how PG&E wants to plan its distribution, right? So they have ultimately control over the flow and the queue of what gets turned on and off. So we've been working with a number of our local governments, for example, on putting solar on public buildings. Sometimes it's happened where the solar project is done. It's ready to be switched on, but until PG&E is ready to electrify that, we just have to wait. So the answer is yes, and it's not always up to us, but we do our very best to stay ahead of it and stay in partnership with them. Does that answer your question?
Do I sense a little bit of Hatfields and McCoys here between you and PG&E?
No, not anymore. There used to be a lot of Hatfield and McCoy. It's getting better.
Okay, good enough. Thank you. Patrick?
Yeah, no, you mentioned in your presentation about storage, and I've noticed a couple of my neighbors, they've all added solar, but obviously PG&E is not buying the energy anymore, so a lot of them are just using backup generators. You mentioned in your presentation, is there anticipation that we might have a better storage area for backup electricity, because it's not being used?
Yes, so a couple different things to unpack. It's a great question. So the first thing to unpack is that there have been sort of 3 phases of what we call net energy metering, or residential solar. People putting solar on their rooftop. It was heavily subsidized and incentivized 20 years ago. Then there was a shift whatever it was, 10 years ago to what we called NEM2. More recently, and what is coming into place now, is called net billing tariff, or some people call it NEM3. And what's happened with that is that the incentives, or the discounts, if you will, to incentivize putting solar on your roof have really shrunk. And that's because the state is saturated now with solar, and at times oversaturated. So we're right-sizing the solar installation so that it does not generate as much excess power that PG&E is no longer paying for. So hopefully these new systems are appropriately scaled to the size and the energy needs of the house or the business. Putting battery backup there is actually our next kind of frontier when it comes to our commercial and our public buildings. We have a GovPV program. So first we went in, we're doing the solar, and then we come back in and retrofit it with a battery. And that's really for resilience during power outages. So it's an important sort of 1-2 system, I would say. But batteries are still really in development in terms of technology and efficiency and price. But I do think that they will continue to expand.
Well, what I see with my neighbors, they're all going Tesla, so what they're doing is with the solar panels.
The power wall.
And then the power wall and the backup battery.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Next item.
And I'll see you again soon. It feels like it was just yesterday. Thank you.
Item 4.2, presentation by Sam Trans regarding SB 63 local investment plan.
Good evening. Okay, looks like the presentation is up. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Michaela Wright-Petrick. I'm a Government and Community Affairs Officer with the San Mateo County Transit District, and want to thank you so much for having us here tonight. I'm here to give some information about a potential ballot measure, which could be on the November ballot. We're sharing some information for what this means for the county and how you and community members can be engaged in the associated planning process. If you could do the next slide, please. So here's my agenda. We have some information on the ballot measure as a whole, and then really zooming in on Samtrans and San Mateo County in particular. Next slide. I want to start off by giving a brief snapshot of Samtrans, who we are and who we serve. This year we're celebrating 50 years, and we provide bus and paratransit service here in San Mateo County. This is an essential service for people to get to work, medical appointments, school, and other destinations. You can see some bullet points here about our service and our rider profile, and I really want to emphasize 2 stats. 94% of our riders are low income, and 80% do not drive or own a car for a variety of reasons. They really depend on Samtrans to get where they need to go. Next slide. The key issue at hand is that transit agencies that carry millions of people every year throughout the Bay Area are facing major operational deficits. These agencies are sharing with the public about this reality and a few reasons for why that is, which there's a couple bullet points on the slide here. It's complicated, but we boiled it up to a couple points. If the ballot measure does not pass, BART, Muni, Caltrain, and others will make large-scale cuts. You'll be hearing about how the ballot measure, if successful, could help them stabilize and maintain their service. That is not the focus of the presentation today because I'm here to talk about Samtrans, which is in a slightly different boat. Next slide. I want to give some background on the ballot measure. There is state legislature that passed last year called SB 63, the Connect Bay Area Act. It may reach the November ballot via Citizens Initiative, which happens through a privately funded and administered signature gathering campaign that's underway. If the measure qualifies for the ballot, passage would require 50% plus 1 of voters in 5 counties. San Mateo, San Francisco, Santa Clara, Alameda, and Contra Costa. If it makes the ballot, voters will decide if they approve a half-cent sales tax for 14 years and 1 full cent in San Francisco only. It would provide nearly $1 billion to transit in the Bay Area, and about 63% of the funding would go towards preventing major service cuts on Caltrain, BART, Muni, AC Transit, San Francisco Bay Ferry, and some smaller agencies. And you can see that slice of the pie in the pink on the screen. In San Mateo County, there would also be locally administered funds to support local transportation improvements, and that's coming from the blue slice of the pie. And that's why I'm here today, is to focus on that San Mateo County component. Next slide. So what does this mean for the county? Samtrans would have about $50 million annually to allocate for 14 years. There are some limitations on the funds. They have to be used for public transit in one way, shape, or form. And you can see the 3 bullet points here. Those are the requirements of where the funds can be spent. We need your input and the community's input to develop a plan for how we put these dollars to work locally, and that's what we want to engage you in. The purpose of this planning effort is to help the Samtrans board determine how to allocate this approximately $50 million of annual tax revenues in the county if the ballot measure passes. Next slide. The good news is that even though these particular funds that I just mentioned are limited to public transit only, we have other ways to fund public transportation improvements here in the county. We have 2 half-cent sales taxes to fund transportation improvements, Measure A and Measure W, which you can see here on the screen. Those funds go to the variety of categories like highways, local streets and roads, grade separations for the Caltrain line, etc. Measure A expires in 2033, and the San Mateo County Transportation Authority may be asking voters in the next couple of years to renew the sales tax, most likely in 2028. There may be transportation projects that don't fit in those 3 categories that I showed before, and I mentioned these tax measures because if they don't fit in those categories, they could be addressed through Measure A now or in the renewed version in the future. Next slide. I also want to provide some context about Samtrans. We're very fortunate in San Mateo County that our bus system is in a stronger financial position than other agencies facing major operational deficits of $75 million, $300 million, etc. Starting in fiscal year 2028, we start to see an inflection point where our expenditures are outpacing revenues. We do project an operating deficit that averages about $30 million per year over the next decade. Samtrans, like I showed before, is really an essential service for our customers, so we're paying close attention to this and keeping an eye on how to address this. There are some cost-saving measures that we're undertaking proactively now, and we recognize that we need to address this looming budget problem to protect this essential service. Next slide, please. So how is Samtrans determining how to spend the money it would receive if voters pass the Connect Bay Area measure? We are putting together a local investment plan, and we have strategic planning documents to help form the foundation of this plan. And we've done a huge amount of outreach in the past several years to understand the public's priorities and our riders' priorities. Our board has also given us guidance, and we've already held 2 workshops with our agency advisory group and our stakeholder advisory group, and we've been engaging with your city staff digitally and stakeholders as well. Our stakeholder group includes business, nonprofit, labor, special districts, and other community groups. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present to you tonight. We are presenting to councils around the county to get the word out and to collect input. We are also conducting a public survey to gather the public's opinion. And at the end of the day, our board is ultimately the one that's going to be making the decision on how to allocate the nearly $50 million if the ballot measure qualifies and passes. Next slide, please. So taking in all of those inputs, we've identified 10 categories for funding consideration, which you can see up here on the slide. These are the various categories that also appear in our survey where we're asking people to rank their priorities. We developed these on the past planning projects and our engagement so far, and we really need to hear from people in general and hear from you specifically on how to rank these different priorities. We have an online survey available in multiple languages, and we're leaving tear-off surveys in paper form across the county. You can see we've got a handout here where people can fill out the survey, add some comments, and send it back to us. And I left some in the chamber here to make too. This also has a QR code to access the survey online. Next slide. So we are doing all this engagement on a really short timeline. We have about 10 weeks to get this out and get our results back. Through this process, we're listening and we're working to develop this local investment plan for our board to adopt. There will be a discussion at the Samtrans May 6th board meeting, and we invite you to participate or tune in. The goal is for adoption at our June board meeting. And we're doing this now so that residents have information on how the funds would be invested locally if this ballot measure qualifies and passes. Next slide, please. So our ask of you tonight is that we need your help. The survey closes on April 30th, and getting information out sooner rather than later is helpful for us because it will help shape the conversations we're having with our advisory groups. We've given your staff a toolkit for social media, press, and newsletters, and we ask you to amplify this in your social media and constituent newsletters as well. And please do take the survey yourself. Next slide, please. So that's it. We know we have limited time on your agenda tonight, so we encourage you to get in touch with us, share your thoughts. I'm also happy to take comments or questions tonight. Thank you again.
Casey?
I just have some concerns about SB 63 in general and just how it's gonna get rolled out in San Mateo County. But I think I just wanna relay some concerns being in Foster City. We obviously are not on main transit corridors. We don't have a lot of public transit. I think we have 1 or 2 routes from Samtrans. And I know just from being on CCAG, so many of the projects that get rolled out and funded are often tied to being, some sort of nexus to public transportation routes, or your community must have a community of interest, right? A particular low income or low, economic concern. We don't necessarily have that in Foster City, and so oftentimes we're not awarded money for projects that really would make a big difference here in Foster City. So I think that as we work through what money potentially we may see, I want to just make sure that there is an understanding that particularly communities like ours, like those on the coast, who aren't often available or eligible for project money, that we somehow be allowed to be considered part of that mix, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback. If you could go back to the slide with all the categories on it, one of the things that we're asking to prioritize is there's the one that says expand access to transit for communities that are currently underserved. One of the ways we're interpreting that is communities like Foster City, the coast, that don't have a lot of public transit right now. And so that, that is definitely some feedback that we're looking for, and that, that everything is on the table within those categories, yeah.
And then just to go on with that too, obviously we've got a large group of, our senior population is growing, Silver Tsunami is coming, and I think particularly for our students, specifically for our community college students, it's very difficult for them to get from Foster City to the various community colleges and even to our high schools. We don't have our own, public high school in Foster City, so it's difficult. So those I think would be priorities that I see on the list. But yeah, I think just recognition that we are a little bit different than money with nearby cities.
Thank you for that I will echo what Councilmember Jimenez said. Those are the things that I wanted to bring up, is being in a community where it feels like bus services over the last 10 years have been taken away. And we are not on the corridor, so we need to get some kind of service that gets us to the corridor. I also want to bring up, and this might, how do we get these transportation agencies, and I know you're all very different, to work with other transportation agencies across the bay? We have a bridge that causes traffic, and people need to get across that bridge too, people that are low income. And there used to be, I think it was East Bay Transit, what's it called?
AC Transit.
Yeah, AC Transit, who used to run that and doesn't do that anymore. So now there's no bus service going over the bridge, and that doesn't help those people who need to get on a bus to cross the bridge. So how does your organization work on that?
Yeah, I have been hearing that already in some of these presentations, and I think that's a great point. I will say, we do communicate a lot with the other agencies. On Mondays alone, I'm in a couple different meetings to coordinate with the other government affairs colleagues at other agencies. But that is one of the service gaps that exists, is that east to west connection. And so that is one of the things that potentially this ballot measure could, if passed, that it's public transit, so that's certainly on the table. If our board and the community feel strongly about it, that's something that we could take a look at.
Patrick?
First of all, I want to thank you for your presentation. Matter of fact, I was going through your PowerPoint presentation at a local restaurant. I won't mention the restaurant in Burlingame, but two of the servers had come up to me and they noticed the pictures of the buses. And so I wanted to engage in a conversation with him. And he was excited to say that he had the opportunity to get a bus to take him to work. So I appreciate that, because we have a real big challenge. One of the things I didn't hear in your presentation, which is one of the biggest growing population, and that's senior citizens. I share a little bit like my other colleagues. If we look at the PowerPoint presentation, and I don't want to just single out Samtrams, they're all going to go broke if they don't get a sales tax or stuff. But what I don't see in the presentation is you mentioned something in accountability, oversight, and provisional. So what does that mean in as far as accountability from Samtrans? I'm not talking about BART, I'm not talking about Caltrain.
Sure. So first, with the senior comment, thank you for that feedback. That is, something that is weighing heavily on us too. We do provide service for a lot of seniors, and I'll just point to the category about paratransit. A lot of people don't realize that we operate paratransit as well, and so that is a big part of Samtrans. As far as accountability, there are accountability measures baked into the Connect Bay Area measure. Right now, there is a financial efficiency review going on for the large 4 operators to get a good picture of what cost-saving measures they're doing right now, what they can be doing in the future, and then there will be a phase 2 of that if the ballot measure passes, to continue on that, and that's being done by an independent third party. So for Samtrans, the bill that enabled this to potentially appear on the ballot measure, there were a lot of accountability was a big topic through that, and one of the things that emerged is that if it passes, there will be a process where if a county feels like the ballot measure is not being expended in a way that is going to be equally effective across counties, there's an appeals process. And so that is another way where San Mateo County, if it feels like BART is not making appropriate service cuts equally across the 5 counties, then that's another avenue to flex that muscle. So there are a number of accountability provisions, and in terms of Samtrans, we are out here in the public, and what we're really trying to do is build this local investment plan is reflective of the public's perspective. And then we do have every few years, we have an opportunity to do a full redesign of our routes. And so there will be opportunities down the road to engage with the public, every couple of years.
Well, I get confused, you have a report from Caltrans that says 70% of the drivers on 101 are single drivers, and they're not able to collect on the toll gates and all that other type of stuff. So somehow the communication, and I appreciate your comment, we need to get everybody at the table to make that seamless transportation much more available. Thank you.
Maybe.
Hi, Michaela, thanks for coming tonight to go over this with us. My question is around how will Samtrans and most likely the other agencies use technology to do things like predict occupancy of different rides, be able to figure out, how to be more responsive instead of having very fixed routes. Are there ways that AI can help predict through algorithms, right? Like maybe this route needs to be adjusted, any kind of more real-time adjustments so that people can get to where they're going to in a more optimized way.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of those plans, obviously I don't expect you to go into detail tonight, but any of those forward-looking plans, I'd love to learn about that.
Yeah. I will say one of the things that makes me think of is real-time information for our passengers at bus stops. One of the categories here is improved bus stops, and we embarked on this big bus stop improvement plan that wrapped up, I think, 2 years ago. And one of the elements of that is a goal of making, at our high ridership stops, having the ability for people to look at a screen and see when their bus is coming. And that doesn't have to be a fancy screen. It can be one of those, it's called like a paper cast. It's kind of like a Kindle material, but something low cost that you can have out there so that people are not just standing there waiting. And especially for passengers who don't, have access to cell phones, who, pay in cash, that kind of technology improvement can really make a big difference in the rider experience. So that is one example. I'd have to get back to you with specifics about AI, but we are certainly doing our best to keep our system the most technology forward as possible. And I say one of the big things that we're doing right now is transitioning our entire fleet to zero emission buses. So that is not like the AI techie, maybe what you have in mind, but that is a huge technological transition where we're retraining, reskilling. We have a whole new system that's, transitioning over the next couple of years, so, yeah.
Yeah, that is a big accomplishment, especially for workforce development. And then just to build on that, my other colleagues mentioned seniors, right, needing to make sure that we're prepared ahead of time because not all of them have rides, or that even if they have a car, they're not really supposed to be driving much anymore or at all. And anecdotally, some of the seniors I talked to that I have either helped with rides or can get rides from other people, they have mentioned that certain stops got moved out of maybe their the appropriate walking distance for them. So I don't know how to tell you how to prevent that, but is there a way to tap into that data? I know you can't interview every single senior that rides the bus in Foster City, but it's kind of sad to hear that people's independence is taken away and they feel like they have to depend on people for rides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know the specific instance that you're referring to, but I will say anytime we make changes to bus stops or routes, we, do our due diligence and get the word out, get feedback. And, one of the trade-offs there is that sometimes when you move or relocate bus stops, there's a variety of reasons why you might do it. There might be a local business right there that needs to expand in some way. There's a lot of reasons, but it can come with a trade-off where somebody who's dependent on that bus stop has to find another one or maybe another option. And so we make sure that if there's a relocation or removal, that we engage with the community so we understand the impact of potentially making that decision.
Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of questions for you. You were talking, let me go here. If you don't have the priorities lined up, there's 10. If they're not in sequence at this point, how did you arrive at a 0.5% sales tax at 50 million? How did the 50 million come about?
So that came about through, it was pretty much a 2-year process of all legislators, transit agencies, MTC, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, trying to come together to solve the problem of what to do about these operational deficits. So that decision about the expenditure plan globally and how much Samtrans would get every year, that was decided through the legislative process at the state, and that expenditure plan was baked into the enabling legislation that permits a ballot measure to move to signature gathering. So that is not something Samtrans decided, it was part of the legislation.
Okay, well, it seems like we're getting the cart before the horse. I say that a lot of times, but it sounds like cart before the horse. We need this much money, but we don't know what for.
Yeah, I would say part of the process was coming together as the 5 Bay Area counties that are part of the measure. Every county, there are different amounts that go to every county, and so that portion was the amount allocated to San Mateo County for local improvement projects, and then really there is no specific expenditure plan for that $50 million every year. So that's why we're here ahead of anything potentially appearing on the ballot, so we can do our best to let voters know before they cast their ballot how it would be spent here.
Okay. My next question is a little corollary to that. What happens, what gets cut? Is there a list of what gets cut if the measure does not pass?
Every agency, so the big 4 agencies, BART, Caltrain, Muni, and AC Transit, they have all now adopted what they're called alternative service plans. So if the ballot measure doesn't make it, here's what will happen for each agency. So Caltrain just had a board meeting last week where their board adopted that. For Samtrans, what we're looking at is, if Caltrain service goes away, if BART service, if all of these services get cut back, there may be a need for us to shift our service to fill some of those gaps. So we are remaining nimble right now to kind of see how this shakes out, but we may need to shift some of the service to account for those.
Okay, but is there there's no list at this juncture?
Each agency, the big 4 agencies have lists. As a representative of Samtrans, I don't have all the details on each agency's, but I would be happy to follow up with some links or where you can find that for each agency.
Yeah, because that would be interesting. We have one bus stop, or one bus that comes through here, and at any one bus stop, it's once an hour. So if you cut, you're not going to cut half a bus, okay, or a portion of the bus. Now, I don't know how much we do utilize ready wheels and ancillary and the schools. I mean, the transportation there. That's one of the reasons I've had a hankering to back away from the sales tax issue, because Foster City itself would pay $2 million a year on a 0.5% sales tax increase. And what would Foster City get for that $2 million? If we got something, it's worth talking about. But if we get nothing, why would we want to support the measure?
Well, there are a variety of categories that could potentially benefit the city. The expanding access to areas like Foster City. One of the things that the coast is advocating for is expanding what we call Ride Plus, which is our it's like the public transit version of Uber or Lyft rideshare, where you can order a vehicle and it'll come pick you up and drop you off, and it's the same cost as a bus fare. So that's that is one thing that some communities who don't have traditional bus services are telling us that they want. There's also, one of the categories that's eligible under this measure is road improvements, like potholes, treatments, or other road improvements on streets that have fixed route bus service. So where the FCX runs, or the other routes, the school routes, you could, if this was a priority, the measure could potentially be used for road improvements on those stretches. Bus stop improvements, that's another thing. We also, one of the categories is improving access and programs for low-income communities. We have fare programs that help people pay for the bus. So there's a number of ways that it could help your community. But this is why we're here. We really want to hear from you, like, of the list, what is the most important?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, I hope you come back and you say, here's, with this sales tax increase, here's the services that that Foster City's gonna benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not vote yes, and then we're gonna tell you whether you get it or not. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item?
Item 5, public. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak on items not listed on the agenda. Anyone who wants to provide public comment, please fill out a yellow speaker slip as soon as possible and hand it to me. And I do have one speaker slip from Tom Ockendeck.
Good evening, council members.
Wow.
Good neighbor, Casey. Yeah, I'm here to propose a recommendation to make it more safe for users of the Bay Trail, the Levee Trail. And what I'm gonna propose, let me give you the background first. I'm an avid bicycle rider, road cyclist, and I use that levee almost every day to cycle on. I belong to the Western Wheelers Bicycle Club of Palo Alto. It has like 1,100 members. We're on that trail at least 6 days a week. Sunday's the only day that club members aren't on that trail, okay? And the ride, the normal weekly ride from Saturday, from Monday through Saturday is from Seal Point Park down to Redwood Shores, okay? And there could be as many as 15 riders, probably an average of 8 or 10 riders, okay? And so we see potential issues, okay? And what I'm proposing is that a signage addition. When I was riding up to Coyote Point the other day, because there's signage up there that says reduce speed, call out before passing. I mean, within the club, there's an etiquette. We ride single file, and you're coming upon a rider or a pedestrian, you call out. You say, on your left, and then you go around. And that protects, people hitting pedestrians or women pushing their babies in buggies, or another cyclist. So yeah, so I want to recommend that this signage be put on. There's 26 poles between the bridge and the turning to Redwood Shores. And so there's no need for additional poles. I'd like to have this signage put on those existing poles, okay? The poles that are already there have 3 pieces of information: Bay Trail, Foster City Pedway Bikeway Facility, and Public Shore. I don't know if all this is necessary. I think a safety message is more important than this. And so I would highly recommend that we have this signage put on those poles, and maybe reduce some of the other signage, just more publicity kind of signage, I think it really be safety. When I'm with my rider guide, we get passed all the time and people don't call out, and it's really dangerous, And especially now with the electric assist bicycles, they're heavier, they're faster, and now we got these kids on the Levee Trail that are doing like 20 miles an hour, and with no helmet on, So there's a whole issue with this whole electric bicycle stuff now. That I hope the public will be addressing that at some time, hopefully, and put some laws in place. But yeah, so I really want to recommend this signage be added to the existing posts. And because they're existing posts, the expense would seem to be really little. To create a sign and add this, take some of the other signage off, and put this on the sign to
to save accidents and improve safety on the levee trail, for all of us to cycle and the other people to use the trail. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Has staff been provided, pictures of that?
You want?
Yeah, have you given that? to
Oh, yeah,
staff?
oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
Then you- Thank you.
It's fine, yeah, yeah. And like I said, I didn't realize realize there's 26 poles. There's a lot of poles, and only a 5-mile distance, so it's a lot of poles to put signage on. So yeah, so that safety measure would really be good for all of us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Next item. Or any more? Jenny?
We do not have any more seats.
Okay, next item.
Item 6, city EMID consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine by the city council EMID board of directors and will be enacted by one motion unless removed by a member of the council, board, staff, or public. Anyone who wants to provide public comment, please provide a yellow speaker slip.
Okay, first off, does anybody want to pull in? Better?
No.
No? No, okay. Public comment?
We do not have public comment.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move to adopt the consent calendar in its entirety.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item.
Item 7, city district manager reports, council board statements and requests, and council liaison reports.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I don't have anything additional to provide to you in the open session. You do have just sent out to you the latest update, so I'll stand for questions on those if you have any.
Okay. Stella, Stacy.
So I don't have much to comment. I just would like to say on the 24th, I was honored to participate in Ledge Day as part of the CCAG contingent. We met with Senators Becker and Leader and Assembly members Pappen, Stephanie, and Furman. And one of the things that I did during those meetings was to basically advocate for several of the e-bike bills that are coming down, and asked our representatives to really pay attention to those and hopefully vote for those. There's some really great bills that would, again, just continue to put some guardrails over our e-bike use, which is great. And then continue to advocate for some funding for some possible projects, one of which would benefit Foster City and add some technology to our intersection lights. Really innovative stuff, so I'm hoping that we'll get some money to put some of these things in place. And yeah, that's it. I had a BCE meeting on the 26th, and then I was part of the Council of Cities on the 27th. Again, it can kind of continuing my e-bike passion. Had a great conversation with a council member from Menlo Park about some work that their schools are doing actually in regards to e-bike education. So I will be sending that info on to our Board of Ed to see if we can get some help there.
Thank you. So we have the D2 electeds meeting on the 18th, where Habitat for Humanity gave a presentation and brought and touted, I would say, that they're doing some homes in Foster City to improvements in some low-income homes here, and it started on the 23rd. So I thought that was really great that they brought that up at that meeting. Attended the Holy Festival on the 21st and was honored to help welcome the community there. Also attended the City Council of Cities meeting on the 27th. And there was a SFO roundtable meeting on the 1st, and I want to remind people of the construction work that they're doing on the runways there that might cause some traffic on 101 and some traffic into the airport, and that's going to be through the end of the summer. Also, I think maybe everybody's seen it in the paper, the FAA has reduced the number of flights that can land per hour which has caused a 25% delay in flights during the day. It will affect Foster City a little bit because in order to catch up on those flights, it's going to extend that time to about midnight instead of 10 o'clock. So they are going to start working, because this is a recent thing that's happened. They are going to start working with the airlines to see if there could be any scheduling changes that could be made to make more flights during the day, or more even during the day rather than in pockets. So we'll see what comes of that. The Planning Commission meeting on the 2nd, the commission reviewed and approved sending to the council new projects on the 5-year CIP plan. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the Rotary Club of Foster City, who went to Hoopa again and installed a playground. And I believe it was one of Foster City's old playgrounds that was donated to the Rotary Club to install. So great work to them. That's what I have.
I've got a question for you. Is that airport, I saw something on TV where they've stopped parallel landings.
So that's part of the problem, is there's no more parallel landings, it's staggered, which causes a delay.
I'll go with Phoebe.
Thank you, Mayor Kiesel. Some highlights from the last few weeks. Our last meeting was a special meeting. March 17th, I went to a really great summit called the BUGS, Build Up Green Spaces Early Childhood Summit. And this is where a bunch of different leaders and practitioners in early childhood education gather to brainstorm some ideas on how we can help early childhood and childcare spaces be better equipped for climate realities, right? So TLDR, looking for ways that we can make these childhood education centers more climate friendly and healthier for children. I think for Foster City, the fact that we have a community center coming online later this year, and we will have a new a partnership with the to-be-named child care and early childhood education center. Perhaps there's an opportunity for us to work together on that. March 19th, Mayor Kiesel and I, along with Planning Commissioner Stogland and Haddad, did a tour of the community center. It was really great to see the different spaces really coming together, especially the event space is really exciting. And then March 30th, I got to attend the San Mateo State of the City, because we don't have our own, so it was great to actually see one in action since we haven't had one in over a decade. It's great to hear from the whole staff and be able to have time for community to come together. Thank you.
Patrick?
Thank you, and kind of a takeoff on Vice Mayor's comments about the airplanes. I sit on the Airport Land Use Committee, and I guess the main thing is the distance. They've had so many, not necessarily at San Francisco, but a lot of the airports, because the planes coming in, there's not a great amount of distance, and they want to have that for safety purposes. As we've seen across the country, there's some problems. I also attended with the Vice Mayor the Holly event. I tried to get the Vice Mayor to have a little more color, but she resisted. I wanted to give her some more pixie color.
I was going to a birthday party and I had to leave.
Well, I thought red looked real good. Anyway, thank you. So that was good. I also attended the Council of Cities in Millbrae with the council, and it was a great opportunity to see the Marriott and to talk to the people in Millbrae on their development out there with all the new apartments, the new retail business, and beautiful office. We also visited the Sam Tram's space up there, which was awesome. I think there probably will be a public tour. I also attended the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee and the Airport Land Use. They both have websites, and you can, I'm not going to read what they have. Foster City was awarded some money for the bicycle pedestrian. I don't know where the money's coming in, but we're going to be getting some money. So it's good that we participate on these committees. So the Airport Land Use Committee, what else do I have here? Council of Cities. That's about it. Public service is the best work of life. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, at the Council of Cities meeting, I want to add one more thing to that. And we just went through a presentation by Sam Hands and the new, I'll call them the new digs that they're going to be moving into, along with other education entities are, I don't know even how to say it. It's going from the first floor up to the penthouse as far as the look of this environment. And each of the rooms has a different city name on it. And I was asking how they did it. It was very interesting. They said by population, so very political. I had the pleasure of Friday attending ribbon cutting for Samuel Merritt University, which is opened up in our school right here in Foster City. And everything, I mean, what's great, staff got all kinds of accolades. That any city that they chose our city basically because of our aesthetics. They kept calling it lagoon, that we call it lagoon, kept calling it the lake. And I had to correct them on that. But all I got was, I mean, Sophia was, if we could have nominated her for sainthood, they would have. Yeah, they were all gaga and goo-goo. So now we have a great looking city and we have great supporting staff. You know, so I'm standing there as the mayor and just, you know, doing a photo op with a pair of scissors. So, but yeah, real good addition to the city. I have to say, I talked with their board. They're thrilled to be here. And first-class organization. In fact, if you go in their classrooms, it looks like a hospital ward with dummies in the beds, and that's how they teach it. The nurses. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. It's a nursing school. And when you first go in there, I thought it was in a hospital, actually. The bodies weren't moving. So, at any rate, I guess I'm good with that, and I guess we go to the next item, and that's going to be going to closed session. At this point, though, public comment on any one of the 3 closed session items.
We do not have public comment.
Okay, thank you. So we are recessed to closed session.